Greetings from Florida. In today's video, we're going to talk about silver, daily charts, weekly charts. What do the charts tell us? Is the bottom in silver? What do the technicals look like now? What is the upside potential? Did we already miss the rally? Did we miss the best buying opportunity? All this and more in today's video. Let's get right into it. Welcome to Hot Trades of the Day, your show for swing trading ideas for the coming days, weeks, and month. Hi, my name is Daniel Helmy. Greetings from Florida. We're gonna jump into an Uber really soon to head over to the Rural Symposium. And obviously, if I get some really interesting information like I've done in the past from Deutsche Goldmesse or from PDAC in Toronto, you will hear it here in Hot Trades of the Day, so we are ahead of the markets. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the videos. Now on to silver. So this is the daily silver chart, and let me cover this red candle here. Try to cover it with a famous white finger because this is today's trading, Asian trading. So we kind of have, this is a day in progress, have to kind of cut it out. But if we look at the past trading sessions, we see that silver has improved significantly, right? We got 4 green candles in a row. We got 6 of the last 7 trading days in the green. That is positive, also positive. Here in this sell-off on Friday, June 26th, we did not make a new low, we made a higher low. Remember, I talked about it here on the channel, very positive. Also, what I really like, what not a lot of people are talking about, is this kind of it's not really a tweezer, but you see these long wicks right here in a row last week, middle of the week. So we pushed up to break the downtrend and then sold off again. Next day, we pushed up after we broke the downtrend, sold off again to close under the uptrend. And what happened afterwards? Nothing. Big green candle. And these are the little things that the charts tell us, that show us, okay, interesting. Selling pressure is clearly leaving the silver market. Because if you wanted to sell off silver, and remember, dollar was strong last week, right? It had some really strong days. Then those were the 2 days where you would do this. But it didn't happen. So additionally, obviously, silver regained this important support area, and even more important, the long green uptrend that has been in place. We talked about it since March, April 2025. So that is a big one. So this is all really positive. And we would have to say, yeah, now we have been in this consolidation pattern for 2 weeks, almost 2 trading weeks. So this is structure starting to form. Now again, let's not get too excited yet. We're still below the 200-day moving average. We're below the 50-day moving average. Golden line 200, purple line 50-day. As you can see, we broke the uptrend, this one right here. And even if you draw it like this, then you see we're right there at it. I prefer this though. And why is this? Let's talk about this real quick. Because we want to have, when we do trend lines and not horizontal lines, which are much easier to define, we want to have as many touch points as possible. And with the way that I see this downtrend, we have 3 times right here. Then we broke it, and then from the upside, as you can see, we doinked it numerous times, broke below it. And here, the 2 candles that we talked about just a minute ago, you can see they were clearly hovering around this zone, which is the trend line, and this uptrend also, right? So this is how I see it. Short-term downtrend broken, but upside kind of limited, because look what's coming here. A big time 4 resistance in one area. The weakest one of them all is this blue line right here at around 67.95, and then we have the 200-day, the 50-day, the downtrend. Oh yeah, and I forgot about this yellow one. So now we're all of a sudden at 5, which is this former support, now resistance zone. Do I think silver can power through there right away, right now, with the dollar gaining strength, and therefore probably not with a lot of support from gold? I don't. Now, again, that doesn't mean that the recovery of silver is a lost cause. It just means we're probably it's gonna take a minute to power through a resistance zone like this. So let's not think that, ooh, just because we had now a really good week and a half in silver and have seen the strength compared to gold, that, oh, we're gonna go right back to $80 to $100 silver. That's probably not what's in the card. I expect silver to stay very volatile, and that means for us, okay, we're gonna get our chances to buy silver a little lower at a little better price. And for the people that think, oh my God, I missed my chance in silver, let me offer you a different viewpoint. Okay, now you can look at the chart, and I'm speaking specifically about this hammer candle right here. It's not like a super clean hammer, but where we did not make a new low, even though gold did. And you say, ah, if I would have bought here. Yeah, but who bought there? I mean, someone did, but I don't know anybody who bought there. Okay? And I mean there in terms of right at the bottom, right around 56. Yeah, if you compare it to 56, you missed a 10% move in silver, which, by the way, not too much, right? Considering the long-term potential of silver, but it's enough that a lot of people get freaked out about it. So I would like to offer a very different viewpoint. And the advantage of this viewpoint is that it makes it much easier to deal with buying a little higher when we come back down for a super short-term profit taking like we see today in Asian trading, which, by the way, when you see this video, is already history. So the point I'm trying to make is almost nobody of us, I certainly didn't, bought around 56, 56.20, right? You had the hammer, we were below the uptrend, downtrend was still intact. You surely didn't buy here because, well, red candle, now we're going down, we're doinking off, okay, this is not going well. You probably, maybe you bought here, but then you bought here when we broke the downtrend, regained the uptrend. So now we're already talking about 59.50. And that's probably a level where you got in, right? If you didn't buy here, if you would have bought, right? You wouldn't bought here, but maybe here or here. So 94.50 is very different than if you look at the absolute bottom where you would not have bought anyway. Now with this candle in retrospect, you say, yeah, well, yeah, it's obvious. Well, remember how nasty this candle looked when we were down here. Huge red candle. I bet you were convinced that we would go much lower in silver at this moment when we're here. And that's the reason why I'm saying, yeah, someone bought. Someone went full risky and said, we got these lows gonna hold. Okay, well, these are some serious cojones, and then you deserve the profits you got, for sure. Realistically, right? Just because it's possible doesn't mean that it is probable or realistic that you did that. It was not realistic to do it. Someone took a huge risk and it paid off. Props to them. Realistic would have been what I just told you. You buy around 59.50 when we broke the downtrend, when we regained the uptrend. That is a realistic scenario. That is what you should compare a possible silver entry now to. You see the difference? 56? Yeah, possible, but not very realistic. 59.50? That's realistic. So, and if you do that, then all of a sudden, the gains that you missed, not that big, right? All of a sudden, we're like, wait a minute, we're really talking about $2 in silver that I missed. Very different. So that's why I think in the miners, some of them move 20%, fair enough. But then again, same thing, right? The realistic move that you missed in some of the mining stocks is really probably 10%, maybe 12%. So you have not missed much. And again, it's not even sure if we, at the very least, in silver, don't retest the uptrend again. Maybe we go all the way up here, doink off, go back down, but a retest of the uptrend now that we're above it. Remember, we went below it, we regained it. What's common now, we retest it, and then we'll see what happens. Now, let's look at the weekly real quick. And we see weekly. I mean, this is a decent candle, right? On the weekly. If we zoom out, what do we see? We undercut the uptrend, which is what I had predicted all along. Now, the sell-off was not what I was expecting something like this. Here, the long tail you see here. We didn't really get that. We got like two smaller ones. But that supports what I said earlier, that maybe the sellers are all gone. Not all gone, but you get my point, right? Maybe the selling pressure is finished here. And I need to readjust my analysis to silver and say, hey, we had all the silver people in here, so you had the long tails. We had a lot of silver bulls in here, so we had a longer tail. Now, after the long grind of about 5 months, right, and the decline in the silver price, what we have seen in the past 2 weeks starts to indicate whoever wanted to sell is pretty much out of silver. They sold out of the market. They're gone. They're out. And there's just not much selling pressure left. That is what the past 2 weeks, now that we have them in the books and we look back, have to adjust our analysis to. And it's very clear when we look at the weekly. Again, it is important to note that that's good, but let's not get our Ibiza party hat on right now, because what I really do not like is the big daily resistance zone, right? The 5-level resistance zone that we talked earlier about, and this purple line here. Because this purple line is the 50 weekly. And if I zoom out, then you see how important this 50 weekly has been for this whole silver rally. Because look at this. It held here, it helped us here. We have been, ever since we broke above the 50 weekly, beginning of March 2024, that was the signal. And then it helped us to push up the rally and was the support. And now we're below it. So as long as we are below the 50 weekly, which is right now at around 64.60, and in the daily, this crazy monster resistance zone, right? So 64.60 is about here. And then there's not much space before we hit this, right? So there's no reason for us to rush right into buying silver. Things will really change and improve if we close above 72. That's when things really improve, because that would mean we retake the 200, we retake the 50, we break this long-term downtrend, right? That connects this high, the intermediate high, to this high right here. But obviously we don't want to wait that long. So to honor this structure, the smart move would be, hey, we need to readjust. And if we get a little bit more of weakness, start buying up starter positions. That is the new conclusion after the past week, what we have seen in silver. We want to have a good foot in the door if it turns out that we're just going to get a retest of the uptrend and it holds. Again, that doesn't mean that we're then going to go to the moon, right? Like the Bitcoin bros. But it means that that might be one of the good buying opportunities. Now, again, for the bullish scenario, if we hold the bearish scenario, okay, then we're stuck with a starter position, but we still have enough liquidity left to add to the position. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to say that's what you should do. You know the drill. I'm not your financial advisor. But that's what I'm going to do starting this week, right? And I mean, pretty good timing too, thinking about it, with the Rules Symposium, and I'll talk to numerous managements and see who is there. And again, I told you this before in previous videos, and if you missed them, go back, watch them, or hit the subscribe button. That doesn't happen in the future. That I'm going to focus on the mining stocks, the silver mining stocks that have shown high relative strength. So do we have mining stocks that are still above the 200? That's a vast difference to the silver price and a lot of other mining stocks. And this relative strength, especially if it's bigger companies, where institutions are involved, that shows us these are the ones that they don't want to sell. These are the diamonds. So that's what we want to be in first. Those are the ones that we want to buy in first, because those are going to be the stars of the next rally. And because clearly institutions don't want to sell them, even if we go down, we probably have less of a downside risk with these stocks. So that is it for today. We see us tomorrow. Have a great start to the new week. Bye-bye.